Hello all, this is James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade, and we're back here in Fishing Planet. I find myself fishing up in the Northwoods of Canada, in Alberta, Canada, at some sort of moose lake. I forget the name of it. White Moose Lake? I'm just gonna reel in my line just so that I can figure out the name of the lake. Because these are the things I do for you at home. I'm also going to untrack that quest. Yes, White Moose Lake is indeed the name of the place we're at. Okay, and now let's go ahead and go to missions, untrack quest. And so basically, I came here mission hunting. And so far, I've been fairly successful with the missions I originally came here to do. Since coming here and doing those missions, they've kind of chained on to more missions here that I'm not quite ready to do those as of yet. I'm using my, well, not brand new rod. I've had this rod for some time. The Rivertech Phoenix, excellent rod. But it was basically an overpowered match to the reel I had on it for a while. And now I've finally gotten a reel that pairs up well with it. A Rivertech level 30 reel, Rivertech something 400 or 4000. But yeah, great reel. So right now I've basically doubled the poundage on my float setup. With the reel I had currently, I was casting 10-pound braided, and now I am casting 20-pound braided. And the reel has a 22-pound drag, and the rod is capable of 22 pounds. So that makes my line the weakest link by 2 pounds, which is perfect. You want your line to always be the weakest link, and that's exactly what we have here. So this is a rod and reel setup I feel very confident is going to do me quite well going into the future, as the general rule of thumb is you can catch something about 3 times your line power. So with this setup, I feel fairly confident that I can catch something up to about 60 pounds. And there's not a lot of fish in the game that get that big, and with me being lower level, most of the fish I'm going to run into are going to definitely be on the lower side of 60 pounds. Though this is one particular lake where I could test this rod's capabilities, as some of the lake trout in here get significantly large. Well, the uniques, that is. So a unique lake trout is just a huge pig, man. Giant fish. But anyway, I came here to do the lake trout mission, and I've got the first part of lake trout mission done, where you had to get the 11.1 and then the 15.1 trophy, and also the first step of the pike mission I did as well. Now I'm on to the second step of the pike mission. So now it's time to make money. I basically need to make money to recover my travel fees and to repair my equipment. And also because, well, I have dreams. I have dreams of going to St. Croix Lake and catching big muskie. And that's going to require that I get a brand new rod and reel combination, which I'm still working towards having the fun for. So that's part of the reason I'm sitting here catching Northern Pike. This particular location I'm casting at is just filled with Northern Pike, and these Northern Pike are excellent money, or else I wouldn't be sitting here doing this. And basically this is going to be my ticket to recoup my lost funds from travel and everything else. I'm going to slay the pike until they make me rich again. So I guess this is a video that's a lot like the last video where I was slaying largemouth bass for money. I'm now at a different lake slaying Northern Pike for money. The question is, which lake is better? Are the is it more profitable to go the largemouth bass way or the Northern Pike way? So there's definite pros and cons for both lakes. The largemouth, well, they're not going to be as much per fish, and they're slightly less XP, I believe. But I think they bite just a bit more often, and so if we're taking time into consideration and fish brought in, and I think bass actually will still win out over the Northern Pike, but the Northern Pike do bite very frequently, especially on shiners. And that's another problem with this setup is you're spending money on shiners, so there goes part of your funds. If you could devise a way to reliably catch the Northern Pike on lure, then we might have a serious competition here. And I have casted lure here. I've casted some poppers, some walkers, I've casted some spoons, the shad, of course, which is the mission to cast shads to catch pike. And actually, the shads did quite well. I was catching pike probably 2 out of 5 casts, which just isn't good enough to keep up with bass. But the bobber fishing, it just felt a little faster than the lure fishing in this particular instance. So yeah, that's why I'm here casting a bobber. Of course, some of you at home might be saying, well, why not just do both? Get yourself a rod holder and do both. And that's probably indeed would be a good setup. This would probably be a great place to catch pike with bobber and cast simultaneously. In which case, could it surpass the Everglades and the bass? I think it most definitely could. But yeah, we're just winching them in. It's not even sporting. Was certainly an interesting story, though, getting my mission done here. I came here last night with a friend of mine, Wonderboy, and we both were targeting the lake. Well, we were both first exploring the lake, trying to learn it and figure it out. I stumbled upon where the lake trout was because I'm kind of a cheapskate. I don't fish from a boat very often, if at all. And he's kind of a spendthrift and he likes to play with his toys. So he's cruising around the exteriors of the lake, running into the ice, doing silly stuff. And he came across the northern hole here. So give a shout out to Wonderboy for discovering where the northerns were at. And I discovered down at the end of the pier where to find the lake trout. Well, I kept casting trying to get my lake trout, and the first 11.1 lake trout was fairly easy, but I just couldn't get that 15-pounder to bite. I casted and casted. I went through 2 stringers and still didn't catch it. In the meantime, Wonder Boy wasn't working on his mission. I'm kind of like, shouldn't you do your mission? This seems to be a little difficult. He's like, yeah, okay, fine. Okay, you're probably right. I should come down and do the mission. First cast, he pulls in a 20-pounder. And the 20-pounder was, good for completing both sets of the mission, the 11.1 and the 15.1. And so, first cast, first fish, his mission's over. He goes back to fishing Northern Pike again. 2 more stringers later, I still haven't caught the damn mission fish, and I'm getting frustrated. At this point, my basically a 10-pound setup, 10-pound braided line, 10-pound powered pole with basically a 12-pound drag reel. The whole setup was under 60%, with the line getting down to 30%. It was kind of time to give that poor pole a rest and come down here and catch some northern and try to recoup some money to repair the pole. And so that's what I ended up doing. Frustrated, I gave up on catching that dang lake trout for that particular evening or try, and I came down here, gathered me a couple more stringers of money, and went home, repaired my equipment. Actually, when I went home, I got myself a 6.0 spinner, because my thought process is big hook, big fish, and that would surely help me get my mission done. So the next time I come back, I should have been in bed by now, but I decided no, I was going to stay up and I was going to get this mission done. So I cast it out, and within the first 3 casts, I was also in my activity window. Something huge hit the line, and I'm like, yes, I got it. Reeled it in to about 60 feet, and that's all the further it would go. Couldn't move it. No matter how I reefed on it, which direction I reefed on it, how high I creeped up my drag, it would not budge from 60 feet. It just sat there with me reeling and tugging for like an hour. This fish just sat there. And Wonderboy's somebody else in the room who wasn't Wonderboy or myself was like, "You got yourself a snag there." And I'm like, "No, it's a fish." He's like, "Nah, looks like a snag. It hasn't moved." And I had to agree with him. It did definitely look like a snag, but it swam to the position where it was, where it didn't move for the next hour. So I knew it was indeed a fish. But the watcher on, he didn't have as much faith in me. And then, thankfully, the fish decided on his own accord that he was going to move, which I think brought him off of like a rock ledge. I think he was hugging a rock ledge that was basically reinforcing his strength. And once he got off of that rock ledge, I was able to kind of slowly creep him up to the top. I crept him up to exactly 14 feet, and that's a habit that all these lake trout have is you will get them close, like that distance where you're about to land them, and then they decide to bolt and run. Every lake trout I've ever caught does the same thing. It's like, okay, I'll initially let you reel me up. Okay, I'm at about 13, 14 feet. Now I'm going to run for the hills. And so, as I was slowly creeping up, this gigantic lake trout, you could physically look at it in the water, and you could visually identify that this fish was big. I mean, it was far bigger than any of the other lake trout I had looked at in the water, and I was just salivating, but thinking to myself, there's no way I'm going to catch this thing, because to get from 17 to 16 feet took like 10 minutes, and then to get from 16 to 15 feet took like 10 minutes. And the whole time I'm thinking is, when do I hit that magical number where the fish decides to bolt, and how doomed am I going to be when that happens? Well, sure enough, when I got another foot higher with that fish, he bolted. And he ran the reel straight out of line. There was nothing I could do. No way I could turn him. No matter how hard I reefed, and no matter how hard I tried to put an angle on the reef, he would not turn from his course. And he just ran all the way out and snapped the line. And I thought to myself, boy, I went through 4 stringers to not catch a trophy. My friend here, Wonder Boy, catches the trophy in his very first cast. And then when I go and get a big lure to catch this trophy, I get what must have been a unique on that basically destroys my equipment on the first try of the first fish on for the second try. And I'm getting a little disheartened here. I'm like, man, this is just, I'm having some kind of luck. So I'm not going to give up. No, I want to get this fish done and over with before I go to bed. So I cast it back out there, and within about 3 or 4 casts, I hit another huge fish who was a bit easier to move around than the fish before it, but still acted a lot like the fish before it. He found that ledge. He sat on that ledge for about 10 minutes instead of an hour, unmovable. And a lot of the exact same things happened. And I was just thinking to myself, there's no way I could get 2 uniques on in a row. This must be one huge trophy fish, right? Well, make a long story short, I eventually ended up landing that particular guy. I knew he was smaller than the fish I had on before. That was apparent because he was just more pliable. He moved when I pulled the rod, unlike the one before him, but he was barely movable. And when I indeed finally got him up, he was a 31-pound uh, trophy lake trout. And so yeah, that whole, whoa, okay, new level. 4-inch shads, nice. Okay. And a new mission, sweet. So anyway, the whole power of 3, my 10 pound setup I was using managed to get that 31-pound trophy in. But not the unique that was far bigger than the 31-pound trophy I landed. So there is something to my rhyme and reason about the whole power of 3. So if you've ever wondered just how big of a fish can you possibly handle on your line, and you know your line strength, well, just multiply it by 3, and that's pretty much the outside extent of the size of a fish you can handle. And I proved it there with the lake trout experience. I was really wishing that I had already had my St. Croix rod set up for doing the whole lake trout. Would have made that whole ordeal a heck of a lot easier. Or if I could have somehow had it on this rod and reel. But, you know, I had to cast it on the spinner. Or catch it on the spinner, sorry, not cast it. And that was the gear I had available to do that mission. So that's my story. Hopefully you all appreciate what I went through. But yeah, definitely this is an interesting lake. A fun lake to explore, but definitely a lake that you want to prepare for. There's some serious fish in this body of water, and 10-pound setup that might have worked for many lakes before it just doesn't quite cut it here. Well, not on a unique anyway. A unique lake trout. Probably most of the fish here you could land pretty realistically on a 10-pound setup, but not that particular fish. Northern Pike. I've caught many a Northern Pike in real life, but oddly enough, I think the biggest Northern Pike I ever caught, I didn't really catch it per se. Kind of found it. Remember, I was red horse fishing. Um, Spring of the year, the red horse were running, and it's about the time that waters start to recede after the winter runoff, if you will. And northerns tend to get themselves stuck in locations that maybe they shouldn't have been. And that was exactly what happened here. I was walking the riverbank trying to, if find a better spot to set up for a red horse. And I basically came across a pocket of water that was cut off from the river with a northern pike laying in it. Like, basically mud puddle size spot, at this northern just sitting there like, well, this sucks. And he was no small pike. He was like 48 inches. I don't know how many pounds, because we don't really weigh fish in the Midwest. We measure them. We you know a big fish is this many inches or this many inches, not weight. But yeah, 48-inch northern pike, really nice fish. That's almost the size of a muskie. That was a big northern pike, and I brought it home happy as a clam. My dad was just flabbergasted when he saw that thing. And then I told him the story that I just picked it up out of a mud puddle. But online, I've probably caught several northerns that went between 38 and 42 inches. And those, nothing to be sneezed at. Those are all decent northern. Thing is, northern, while being fun to catch and big northern are actually pretty good eating if you know how to flay out the Y bones. And even the smaller northern you can just pickle. They're not exactly a fish that we really get excited for in the Midwest, because I don't know. I think a lot of us just think of northern as almost being a nuisance fish. This fish that's in the way, if you will. But yeah, I've caught a lot of big northern while musky plugging, and really haven't thought much about the fact. But that one northern pike that I picked up out of a mud puddle, that was, I remember that because it was something different. It was out of the normal. Right, these pike need to start fighting better. I need more money, faster. My 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 fish net is not filling up fast enough. Excuse me. This is actually peak fish activity right now too, which is a bit annoying. Take it down. go. Hopefully this will be a trophy to make up for the time we spent there sitting. Though I don't think it is. It's not putting up much of a fight, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of northerns in this lake that's going to put up a lot of fight against this setup. It's not even a northern. Damn it. Well, at least the Atlantic salmon are pretty decent money and XP, so that's not so horrible of a thing. That's maybe a fish I should try to figure out how to catch in this lake. I bet the if one could catch trophy Atlantic salmon on a regular basis, that might be some good money. So far I've only really figured out the lake trout and the northern pike here. Do catch a few splakes and Atlantic salmon while I'm fishing the lake trout, so I figure it's going to be probably a similar tactic to the lake trout to catch them. Probably just a different location. You know, if these northern don't start picking up, I might actually start trying to figure out how to narrow down the Atlantic salmon instead. I have to say, the game really traps you in the grind. That thirst and that lust and that need to get a new toy like a boat or a better casting setup for the next lake. There's always something that it seems to kind of con you into. I'm just gonna recap. Well, should I look for the Atlantic Hmm. You know, there is that I keep seeing splashing over there. Why not? I'm just gonna cast a bobber over here and see what happens. I have no idea the depth there. Right now I'm sitting at 50 inches based off of the Northern Pike. It's probably a deeper spot there. I could probably set the leader lower. But the fact that I've caught the Atlantics while northern fishing and while lake trout fishing gives me the sense that they're probably in between, like where I've currently casted. They're probably deep and in between. So I should probably on the next cast change the depth below the bobber a bit. Wonder how deep it gets out there. Could end up looking at this bobber for a long time. Yeah, I really should invest in a rod holder. I could at least be casting right now. Then shiners might not even be the best bait for these guys either. Though I get the sense that this shiner wants to go get eaten by a northern. He keeps making his way back towards the northern area. Nothing yet. Well, I've become such the video game fisherman. It's like, in real life, this this amount of time waiting on a bobber wouldn't phase somebody. It'd be like, yeah, just normal. But in a game, it's like, oh my god, a fish hasn't bitten yet. Uh, you should reel it in, man. I mean, he's covered half the distance to the northern area. If I reeled him in at this point, would it be worth the effort? He's gonna eventually swim to where I want him anyway. Alright, this isn't very interesting for you guys to watch. Let's be bored in my own time, shall we? Oh, nice cast. Nobody saw that. That didn't happen. Alright, since, this is supposed to be a video about money making with Northern Pike, let's get back to catching some Northern Pike, huh? Come on, fish. Renew the viewer's interest in the video. Just bite it. Quit playing with your food. So I'm hoping come 9 a.m. today, in-game, we might get a special treat. So I've noticed this weather pattern, and this is the 9 a.m. unique weather pattern. It'd be kind of nice if we could hook into a unique Northern Pike during this video. But no promises. Heck, I'd be happy catching a trophy during this video, to be honest. So far the northerns that we've caught have been rather lackluster, and the frequency has been a little on the lackluster side too. Alright, drag spoke a few times that time. Yes, drag is speaking. I like that. We may have a slightly better northern here. Load pounder. Minutes out from 9. Stop playing with your food. Drag spoke like 3 times. What does that mean? Like a 6-pound fish? 7-pound fish? 5-pounder. Just a strong 5-pounder. Alright, I think this is the cast. If we're gonna get a unique, it's gonna be on this cast. Unless this guy bites fast enough that I can get another throw out by 9 o'clock. Come on, stop playing with the food, take it down. I don't know. That's not much talking. I think we just got another little northern. should show you guys the fish activity chart and what I'm talking about. 9 o'clock. So with this particular weather pattern, you're coming down off of peak fishing activity in the morning, and at 9 o'clock I've ran into uniques for whatever reason during this weather pattern. And it's been too frequent to, you know, yeah, it's just something I've noticed out of this particular weather pattern. So contrary to popular belief, I don't believe uniques always hit during peak activity period. I think each weather pattern has its own unique window, and that could fall outside of peak period. But I'm not an expert in this type of thing. I'm still trying to figure all that out. Stop playing with your food. Yeah, I don't believe we're gonna get any unique northerns today. Alright, what I'm talking about. Right here, this weather cycle, 9 a.m. I've seen uniques tend to happen on this weather cycle. I don't know why. They just do. Doesn't make sense because it's not in a peak activity window. Another one is there's another activity window that's like this, but it's, I don't know, shallower and longer. It has a longer gully. I've noticed uniques showing up at 1 p.m. on that particular window. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe this is the one. Yeah, okay. So 9 and 1, I've noticed uniques on this same weather pattern then. Could be map specific or fish specific. No idea. Or maybe it's just a set time for a set species. I don't know. Hey, if any of you who are watching have more info on the how, what, when, and why of uniques, why don't you add a comment down below. Fully expect to see no comments because, well, we're how far into this video now? 1 hour. Yeah. Nobody will have watched this video this long. If you have, I will be impressed. I think this video goes as a... I think it's proof that bass fishing is better. We're an hour into the video and our stringer is not full. The bass fishing video took an hour and the stringer was full. So we filled up the stringer in the Everglades far faster. Though there is stringer value. And so this stringer probably will be more valuable than the bass stringer was. But I don't think it's going to have enough of a value offset to counteract it. I think fish per dollar, Everglades is probably the clear favorite between these two. Though these northerns get very streaky. They like to bite a lot in short bursts. So if you're filming at just the right time, you could probably fill up a stringer rather fast with several trophies to be included in that mix. But we will continue on with this video until we fill up the stringer. The torture does not end yet. Speaking of torture, anyone just hear that sound effect? That was a red squirrel. I don't know what dev decided it would be a great idea to put the annoying sounds of a red squirrel chattering in the background into the game, but I'd love to beat them with a wet fish. A wet, slimy, dead fish. We have a drag that's speaking regularly here. The fish is even taking line. This could be a good northern. Am I actually going to have to try to play this? Alright, get over here. I fully expect this trophy to be larger than the last. It's not even a northern. It's a unique splake. What are the odds of that? And does that count for that mission? I don't think that counts for that mission, does it? Wow. Okay, unique splake. That was I didn't see that coming. Yeah, you have to catch it on a jig bait. Oh well. I was fully expecting to see a unique Northern Pike. Certainly wasn't expecting to see the unique splake. Sorry, having an issue with the keyboard and mouse in real life. quit talking and eat your food. Gee whiz. Alright, keyboard and mouse issue. I think I've got it resolved here. We're about one fish away from ending this torture. I mean video. In all seriousness though, we did get a unique splake in this video, so hey, there's actually something worth watching here. Although that fish is probably going to throw off the value of the stringer. But that's alright. First world problems. My shiner is just swimming into snags. Will this be the last cast of the video? Game is feeling slightly uncooperative today. Fish on. And we're going to end the video on nothing particularly impressive. Just an average, ordinary 4.6 pound Northern Pike. Which does indeed fill the stringer. Stringer is worth 8,415. Got one Atlantic salmon on there. And one Unique Splake. 16 pounds. It's actually like a $1,300 fish. So how does that compare to one of these Northern Pikes? 11-pound Northern Pike, $865. 5 pound would be about 400. Add another 5 pound to that. Actually, it's very on par with the price of a pike, so it wasn't like the splake has thrown off our net value at all. I think 84.15 is a realistic net value here. So then after the extension fee, which is 1,000, the same as Everglades, you're making about 1,000 more than Everglades. And it took maybe about, actually, 10 minutes more? 5 minutes? 10. It's actually pretty comparable in time to Everglades, to the Everglade video, that is. So I don't know how much time I wasted time talking in the Everglade video and not fishing, but I've done a fair amount of wasting time in this video, I think. So I think I don't think we've proven anything right now. I think we've proven that Everglades and here bass fishing and Northern Pike fishing is very comparable. And it's hard to say one is better than the other at this point for making money. Anyway, I'm James Johnston, aka Sulfurblade. This is my channel. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until next time all, peace.